He's Joe Theismann, the former Redskin, Notre Dame quarterback, and part of the Redskins broadcast network. Back on the show. Joe, how are you?
I'm good, Dan. Been a long time.
How many concussions do you think you had?
Oh, gosh. Hard to say, really. I know the multiples, I'd say 7, 8. I know early in my career somebody broke their forearm on my head and cracked my helmet. I would assume I had a concussion after that, being that I was out for most of the first half. It's not only the hits, Dan, and it's interesting. We focus on the hits that guys get, but from a quarterback's perspective, and even a wide receiver's perspective, those two in particular, when you get hit and you hit the ground, your head usually, after your bottom hits, your head usually gets slammed into it as well. So it isn't just the inducement from a defensive player hitting you. What it is also it's part of the profession that you're going to wind up hitting your head. That's why there's so many strides being made towards trying to protect the athlete through headgear, different types of headgear, different ways to try and prevent concussions.
Speaking of protecting, every time I see RG3 run, I see this unbelievable athlete who has no ability, no sense of awareness of what to do when he leaves the pocket. If it's get out of bounds, take on a hit, try to get 10 more yards there. I don't know if it's bad decisions, but there's something that's missing there with RG3. There's a dynamic there, but they don't want him to be in this position. Why is he in this position, Joe?
Robert is a very interesting, smart, very attuned athlete, but there's a competitive side of him that says that I have to win in every environment. So, we were talking about the game, not this previous game, but the game Monday night against the Cleveland Browns when he didn't and ran. He ran very well. This past one against Baltimore, got out of bounds, protected himself very well, which he will make a conscientious effort to do. But that game became a competition between he and Johnny Manziel. I believe that. Monday Night Football, biggest stage you can find. Mm-hmm. You have the Heisman Trophy winner on the other side. The game was hyped up like a heavyweight fight. And Robert was doing everything he can to get a first down. And this is the thing that conversations that I've had with him is he has to define what winning is. If he wants to win on every play, then he has to define winning. Winning is throwing the ball away. Winning is sliding. Winning is going down short of the sticks and letting the defense go out and play and let the punter punt the ball deep. Those have to be things that he's thought about, and he works very hard at it. But then all of a sudden we look at a game like the Monday night game, and that competitive athlete just rises to the surface, and it's something that he's going to have to fight to be able to protect himself. The thing is at any position, if you play this game and you're a starter, the single most important thing you can do is be available to line up for the next play, in particular at the quarterback position.
Who gives this team a better chance of winning for the entire season, Kirk Cousins or RG3?
I would say Robert does. Now, people are going to go, oh, my goodness, Joe said this. This is why. When you look at the preseason, Robert is adjusting and learning how to be a pocket passer. You can see that. Kurt came out of college as one and has always been one. But the element that we haven't seen in preseason and the element that Robert brings is like Colin Kaepernick, is like Cam Newton. They have incredible abilities, and Russell Wilson, to make plays with their legs that nobody else has. If you look at the 20 throws that Robert has made, most of them have been out of a pocket, which is a learning process for him. I'm sure that, and Jay has said this, he's never had an athlete like Robert. So what's going to happen is, and will happen, I'm sure, is this offense will morph into something that complements his skill set as far as being able to break the pocket and get outside. In the preseason, because of the way it's been constructed, there's no question Kurt has played and looked better. Robert continues to work hard in that frame, and I said it in the telecast. There's no competition here. Robert Griffin III is the starting quarterback of the Washington Redskins.
But why are people saying that you think Kirk Cousins has played himself into being a starter? Now, I'm paraphrasing here.
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing. People will hear parts of what you say, but if you listen to what I said there's no competition here. No competition. If you were going to make a decision based on what you saw in the preseason, Kurt would be the one.
Okay.
But that's a lot different than saying this is the guy that's going to go forward. I think the Redskins are very, very lucky to have two quarterbacks that have the ability to lead this football team. There aren't a lot of teams in the league that have that.
But I don't understand this, Joe, that we draft these guys based on what they did in college, their abilities there. And then we say to them, you can't do that. So you're saying to RG3, we don't want you to be RG3 at Baylor. We don't want Cam Newton to be Cam Newton at Auburn. And the Niners are eventually going to say to Colin Kaepernick, we don't want you to be Colin Kaepernick at Nevada. So why are they drafting them if they're going to take away what is considered their best weapon?
You don't take it away. You try and limit it so that they can protect themselves. In college, the three guys that you mentioned were probably the best guys on the field for most of the games they played in. And that's just the way. Johnny Manziel was the same way. When Johnny was in college, it was the same way. He was probably the best guy on the field in 9 of those games. So what happens is you want to temper them because you know at this level, first of all, there's an economic investment, but you know at this level that you can't go out and take hits and even running out of bounds like Sam Bradford did. The simplest thing. Well, when you get to the sidelines, you have to keep accelerating. You can't slow down because somebody's going to hit you. It's just the nature of the game. So you look at the athlete and see what they can do, but yet look at the championship quarterbacks, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, even Aaron Rodgers, who has great athletic skills. They make their living out of the pocket. And that's something. Robert has such a tremendous upside that it's just phenomenal. I mean, he's worked so hard to try and do the things that's asked in this offense to work out of the pocket. He has the ability to be able to make plays with his legs that very few people have. And he'll get better and better, and has. From OTAs to mini camps to training camps, you've seen him get better and better and better. But he has to reach a point where there's a comfort level for him, and he's still working towards that.
He's Joe Theismann joining us on the show. We have a seminar, a press conference coming up Wednesday with NBC. CBS has already had theirs where they talk to the media about using the word Redskins during a game or during highlight shows. You doing the games. Any thought on that, not using the name Redskins?
No, because if people would go to and check redskinsfacts.com, there's a lot of information there about the Washington Redskins, about the name the Redskin. When I played for the Redskins, I put that uniform with great pride. When we won the Super Bowl, I was given a Chiefs headdress. The logo was designed by Native Americans. And what I really find to a degree, Dan, is somewhat interesting, is most of the rhetoric regarding the name the Redskins are from non-Native Americans.
Yeah.
And I mean, the name's been around for 81 years. 81 years it's been around. And I still think it stands for pride. When I hear the name Redskin, I think of one thing and one thing only, and that's the football team.
But could you see where, even though it's been around, that there's nothing wrong with hitting the reset button to say, hey, let's have dialogue about this? Because I think it's more about people don't like Daniel Snyder and his attitude towards this. That plays in. He's defiant with this. I think people have a problem with that.
Well, you never really know what's going on in someone else's head. There's always good to have dialogue about everything. I mean, if there's a certain situation that comes up, you're going to have people that are adamant about it on one side and adamant about it on the other. And you have to sit down and sort of take a step back and say, okay, who does it affect the most? What's happening? If you look at the attention that the Redskin name has gotten, the foundation that Mr. Snyder has created, and ultimately he will be the decision maker about the name. That's the way it works. But there are so many problems and so many issues that the Native Americans are dealing with that if this brings an awareness to it, to some of the issues and problems, and can help what they need help at, then something good is coming out of it. And the dialogue has been very positive to try and help the Native American nations of this country.
One-word answer. Will Daniel Snyder ever change that name?
I would doubt it. That's 2 words, or 3 words, but
so
I would doubt it.
You say no?
I say no.
Great to talk to you, Joe. Love to have you on again.
Thanks, Dan.
All
Good
right.
catching up.
Joe Theismann, former Redskin Notre Dame quarterback.